Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel, or welcome for the first time. My name is Juan, and this is the place where we are all artists. Okay, so for today's painting of the fisherman, we're going to be using the colors black, white, and red. And as I always say, whatever brushes you may have, on hand, we'll just have to do. They'll be fine. These are the ones I'm going to be using. And I'm also going to use some napkins or paper towels, okay, to wipe the brushes. I have my water here, of course. And I'm going to use this big brush to kind of blur some of the colors when I need to. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the background, okay? So for the background, I'm going to use this brush right here, which is one of my larger brushes that I have here. It's already wet, as you can see, because it was in the water. I'm going to dry it. And then I'm going to create the background color, which is going to be a gray color. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush after I dried it really well and mix white and black to create a gray. Okay, I'm going to start in the corners. Kind of like X's. Or just back and forth. Making sure I don't leave any little areas without paint. And I haven't really gotten back for more paint. It's still what's on my brush. Kind of focusing, like I mentioned, on the corners. Leaving the center, leaving it more blank. And of course, you could always pause the video if you need to, if you need me to repeat something or you need me to slow down. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take some white paint by itself. I don't wash the brush or anything. And I'm gonna continue with that white paint I just added. I want it to blend. The way we blend it for now is just going over it many times. So what I'm going for is trying to transition into like a lighter center. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit more and do this side. And at first, of course, you'll see it really clashes. But if you just continue to do pretty much the same step, the gray and the white will blend. Will blend pretty smoothly. Just a matter of going over and over and over and over again over the areas. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take more white paint, and it's going to get lighter.
As we go towards the center, it's going to get lighter.
Now, I don't want to go too much in the center yet. I want to kind of continue to do this, like very gradually taking my time to go into the center. The most important thing is to blend this better. I don't want it to be too blotchy. I want it to be more smooth. Okay, so I'm going to take my big brush here and just soften this. I'm going to continue this blending. I just keep going over a lot of the same areas so that it blends more evenly. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is work a little bit on the corners now. So I'm going to actually go a little bit darker. So I get up some black paint and mix it with that gray I had. Now the gray, it dried on me, so let me add a little bit more white to make a little bit more gray, but I want it to be slightly darker than what I had originally. So now I'm gonna add it to the corners again. This will darken the corners. So I'm gonna kind of move in a little bit here. I want it to be like a little bit of darkness in that fog. You know, the more layers you add to a painting, the better, honestly, because you put more work into it. It starts looking layered, exactly, and you know, it looks like it's just more well put together when you add more layers than just one. So the fact that we're adding more layers is perfect. But I can see that, of course, it's, you know, it's a little blotchy. So I want to definitely go over some of this. Okay, so I'm gonna now put this brush in.
I want to use this brush to get out of the water.
So I'm taking some white to soften some of the shadows that I added that are a little bit maybe too abrupt. So there's not much I could say about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer. I didn't watch it yet, but I do remember the original, 1997. I remember, you know, it was a nice moment in pop culture history, as you know, Scream had already come out. We're talking about 1997. Scream had come out and set the stage for the return of the slasher flick. So Scream, which came out in 1996, was such a big hit that, you know, the genre was hot. And I remember I Know What You Did Last Summer being also very big in its own right. It had very relevant stars at the time: Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Philippe. Yep, I remember all that off the top of my head. And but yeah, the new one, I can't really say much about it at all regarding anything, the villain or anything. I just know that it was directed by Jennifer Caden Robinson. Now, the first one I know was written by Kevin Williamson, and that one was directed by Jim Gillespie. So I wanted to do something actually that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I wanted to send love and just give a shout out to our audience all over the world. I mean, I was looking at my analytics and I was just so just appreciative that our audience truly is global. So here we go. Shout outs to the people across the United States and everyone in Indonesia, Mexico, the Philippines, Brazil, India, the United Kingdom, Vietnam, Thailand, Bangladesh, Uzbekistan, Germany, Japan, Malaysia, Canada, Chile, Argentina, Cambodia, Ecuador, Ukraine, Peru, Myanmar, Egypt, South Africa, Pakistan, the United Arab Emirates, Armenia, Australia, France, Greece, Hungary, and everywhere else. Thank you for ever taking the time to watch me do what I love to do. All right, so now let's get to the fisherman right away. So I'm gonna use a smaller brush. Okay, and I'm gonna use this one. Okay, so this is the number 2 flat. So as you can see, I took it out of the water, so I could just start with it. I'm gonna take some black paint, and of course, because there's water in it, it will help the paint get a little thinner than it is. So I'm gonna actually dip it in water and add one more drop of black paint to this paint I'm using. Okay, and now we're gonna make the silhouette. So it's actually a nice, fairly large size silhouette. So it's gonna start all the way at the top. So we could do it, you know, very, very slow. That's the top of the hat. Then the hat itself. Okay, then some of his head right there. Then that's part of the poncho, raincoat, then his shoulders, and then it goes off canvas. I want to make this a little crisper, more sharp. Yeah, it goes off canvas. All right, so now the easy part, okay? Just filling all of this in. But of course, this brush is gonna take me too long to do all of these little things like this. So I'm gonna put this in in the water and get my big brush out again. Make sure I wash it and dry it really, really well. And I'm going to use black to paint all of this very quickly like this. Boom. Okay. So there's our silhouette. So now I got to let this dry for like a good 10 minutes, okay? Now, the only thing I would say is that I'm going to make sure I use a small brush right now to kind of solidify these edges that with the big brush it's a little bit hard to do. So I'm going to make sure that I make more of a crisp outline with the smaller brush. Okay, so 10 minutes passed. I'm going to now add another layer to this fisherman, another layer of black paint. Then after I add that layer, I'm going to wait another 10 minutes for that to dry before I add the next details. Okay, so I did add the second layer. As you can see, it's nice and glossy. You can see the glare on it. It'll dry up in another 10 minutes, which I'm going to wait so that I could start the next details. But the second layer is definitely highly recommended. You also want to make sure that you let things dry properly, even longer than 10 minutes if you wanted to. It's definitely advisable. You don't want to, really paint wet paint over wet paint unless that's the actual style you're going for. You want to make sure that it dries so that it looks nice and bold and very rich when it's applied. So I'm going to wait another 10 minutes before we start the next details. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is add light on the fisherman. And this step is actually a lot of fun. It's actually pretty easy. I'm going to use two kinds of white. So I have my white paint, and I'm going to use white for some light that is very soft, meaning that it's white paint with water in it, like this. I dip it in the water, add it to the paint. Very weak, very soft white paint. And also hard light, which is white by itself without water in it. So we're going to start off with the soft light. So here I have my brush already with some on it, and we're going to start right here at the top. This is where we're going to start seeing the separation between so that way we could see like the difference between the face or the collar and the rest of the coat. Now the good thing, of course, is because it's a black figure, we could easily paint over it. Like if this white paint was too much, too overwhelming, it would be easy to just paint over it with black paint if that was the case. But for now, it appears hard at first, but it'll dry up a little bit and actually become softer. So that's actually our soft, like I mentioned, our soft light. You see it's starting to fade a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bit more. And let me wipe off some of it. And I'm going to do the hand with that hook. So I'm going to use this brush to just soften. It's a little damp. Okay, and if you want to make it damp, you could just dip it in the water and then dry it. like this. Just dry it gently, and then just to soften some of this light even further, because it's supposed to be soft light, but some of it could use a little bit more softening, especially right here, just to make it look like it blends a little bit more.
It'll blend in and make it look more. And then when it dries, especially, it'll look much more like natural light. The hard light we're gonna add later won't need to be softened.
Okay, so now I'm gonna add some of that hard light I was mentioning. So I have a smaller brush, a detailed brush, and I'm gonna get white paint by itself without any water in it or anything. I did wash the brush to loosen it up, and then I dried it really well. So I have white paint, and this is gonna be for little touches of light that are a little harder. Now we're gonna separate basically the digits, the hand. These fingers, so they're separated. And then also there's the handle of that hook, of his weapon of choice. Okay, so now for the hook itself, let's start with this side. And it's gonna go here, up here, through his face, all around this way. This is why I need a detail brush. Should be very thin. And then it stops here because of the light, but it comes out this side. Try to make it very thin. Okay, right there. Okay, but then there's the other side, of course. But this other side, I'm gonna try to make it thinner. Like I'm barely touching the canvas. It goes around. So I'm gonna add a little bit of hard light. Right here. This just reinforces the light that's already there. Okay, so now I'm gonna use the same detail brush to mix some red. I'm gonna take a little bit of black to make it darker. And right away it changes it into a very dark red. Okay, so I'm gonna use this just sporadically on this hook. Right, to define the side of the hook that's not really showing, which is this side inside here. Okay, then I'm gonna take the little brush, the detail brush, I'm gonna dry it a little bit. And then I'm gonna take the red by itself. Not too much, just some. And add that, and it's gonna be much brighter. Put that here in the front, I mean the tip. Some gore. Put some here. So I'm gonna do one more thing just to make the painting pop out a little bit more. I'm gonna take one of my detail brushes and I'm gonna use it to sprinkle some red paint. So I'm gonna take my canvas and place it below, place it down like that. Actually, I could take any brush, any big brush, to add water to red paint to make it more workable. Then I'm gonna take the detail brush. And I'm gonna take it and kind of pull it like a little trigger to sprinkle. Just want to liven it up a bit. You pull it like this. I decided to add some like entrails or like just some more gore right here. So right there, maybe a little bit more. But like everything else is totally just optional. But he went ham on somebody. Put some in his hand. Because naturally, if it's like that, it would be everywhere. Then yeah, it's like dripping. So yeah, that's the painting. I hope you had as much fun as I did. You could of course work on it any way you want to, like, you know, make a line more crisp here or there, add more gore, anything else at all. Thank you so much for painting with me, and I hope that you enjoy creating.